So what's going on, fellow YouTubers, DMs, players, what have you? Welcome to another morning for my Terminator campaign prep. Now, generally I'm going to be doing this every Monday morning, and as you can see, I got my nice hot coffee here, and it's a little too hot to drink at the moment. But the game is actually going to be starting a week before what I had planned. So that means I'm really going to have to bust ass this week and try and get everything around and ready to roll. But I figured with this little prep, last week we talked about, what I had planned for the campaign, a little bit about the Terminator series. And I mentioned that I was using the EarthAD.2 system. Now you can see that here. Now, like I said in my last video, the system is somewhat generic, and I don't mean that in any sort of bad way at all. It's actually a really good thing. But when it was designed, it was meant to handle a more versatile type of game. I can run a Terminator game with this. Actually had planned maybe doing a Mad Max based one. You could do just your basic post-apocalyptic. Maybe you could do a zombie based one. The options are really limitless. It's just a matter of tweaking the system a little bit depending on what you need. And when I say tweaking the system, you're actually not really changing any rules or, any really important parts of this game. It's just a matter of limiting some of the stocks. For example, with my Terminator game, I'm obviously not going to have any aliens or evolved animals in it. They just don't fit. But something with Mad Max, again, I probably wouldn't have animals or, evolved animals or aliens, but I would definitely have mutants and rejects and such, type things. Now, this isn't going to be a review on the system. I'll talk about it a little bit, give you an idea of what it is, and I'll review the rules to a degree, but I'm not going to do any sort of critical review of this because I haven't played it yet. I don't really know. From what I have seen, I really enjoy the system. I really like the rules. I like the concepts of it. So, I'm ready to have a blast with this game. Now, there is somewhat of a built-in campaign. The Earth is not dead. It talks about what happened with the cataclysm and where men live, what they fear, in different ideas and story ideas and stuff like that to get you started if you're not really sure where to start or you're not sure what you're doing. So, the game, you could pick up this book and start running the game in no time at all. You don't even really need to plan a whole lot. Now, because I'm doing a Terminator game, I do have to plan a little bit. I have to look at the rules and kind of make sure everything fits in, like I said, with the stocks and stuff like that. So, as I said, you can pick this up and play it and be ready to roll, but I did want to have something. I've been wanting to do a Terminator game for a long, long time, and I just thought this was like the perfect opportunity to do it. So, yeah. This is the PDF. You can get it over at Drive-Thru RPG or RPG now. I think it was $4.95. I mean, $5 for a complete system is phenomenal. You can't pass that kind of deal up. And there's quite a few other expansions, I guess you would say, or source books or rules that go with this. There's like Coyote Trail, which is more of a westerny one. There's Ghost Stories, which is more of a horror. There's a spaceship or outer space one. I think it's called Hard Nova or something like that. And I haven't had a chance to check those out a little bit. I do have a couple of them, but haven't got too far into them yet. Now, for the PDF itself, just a quick idea. It is laid out extremely well. Everything is, hot linked over here, all the way down to each little section. And it's when you need to find something in a hurry or whatever, it works out great. It also has some really great reference sheets to give you an idea of, basically it's like a built-in GM sheet, so that's great too. It's designed by Brett. If you hop over to the website, Precise Intermedias, I think it's pigames.net. On the forums, he's on there all the time, and he'll answer questions and in a couple of hours half the time, if not a little bit longer. But great guy. Everything I've seen him ask when people ask questions or whatever, he's on top of it. He helps them out. So very involved in the system and very involved in the game. But I think it pretty much covers it for this. I don't want to get into too much on this. And like I said, just hop over and, for $5 for a game, you can't pass that up. But I'm going to hop over to Roll20 here, and I'll show you what I have. I think the best way to talk about the system is to show you a character sheet and kind of take a look at it so that, you can get an idea of what players are going to be doing and so on and so forth. Now I'm using Roll20. This is a custom character sheet. They don't have it in their character repository. I had to make it myself, unfortunately, which I guess I don't really mind. It was time consuming, but it was definitely worth it as everything's built right in. It's going to make running the game, much easier. Now, basically, let's run right down through the character sheet and I'll give you an idea of everything. But name would be a character's name. Stocks. Stocks are very interesting. They're somewhat like a character race would be in most of your other source books. There's humans, there's evolved animals, there's aliens, there's mutants, there's diseased like beings are called rejects, there's like mutant cyborgs and human mutants and such. They're called rippers or roms. Now, for this Terminator game, the only things I'm going to be using is a human. I did add mutants in. I think I talked about it in the last game a little bit, but even though there's no mutants in the Terminator franchise, I did feel that with the nuclear fallout that happened, and since we're playing we're playing in 2029, which is like 30 years after this fallout almost, actually a little over, that mutants would start now cropping up. I know they're not in the movie franchise, but I did want to give the players something a little more to play and to kind of play around with it a little bit, I guess. I didn't want to just limit them to human, you know what I mean? Because there's not a whole lot of differencing between the characters beyond how the players are going to roleplay them and their skills. So this will give a little bit of a difference between characters, So, but with the mutants, we're not doing anything extravagant. There's not going to be any extra limbs, and there's no tails, and they're not like super powered mutants like the X-Men or anything like that. I went through all the different mutant gimmicks, which we'll talk about in a moment, and basically just took out all the ones that really didn't fit the game or that would be just kind of absurd in this franchise, and left the simple, smaller ones, like, I'll have to look in a minute, but we'll take a look. And the other stock I had in here was a cyborg, which technically is not in the EarthAD system. However, I just used the Ripper, I believe it was, and kind of, fit it in. It's just I changed the backstory a little bit, but that's it. Otherwise, it's the same exact rules. The role is basically what the character did or what he is. This could be like a soldier, it could be a computer hacker, it could be some sort of general, and it doesn't do anything really for the system itself. It just gives the player and the GM an idea of what that character's background is and what they've done, and helps them pick out skills. Age, gender, XP. You do get experience. I'm using the optional rules to gain experience points and character advancement. Since this is going to be probably about a 10-week give or take game, or 10 sessions anyway, characters or players are going to want to advance a little bit. Now you got 5 main ability scores. You got fitness, which is obviously all your fitness stuff. Awareness is kind of like your awareness, noticing what's around you. Creativity is more of your designing and crafting. Reasoning is how you would work through things and understand. And then your influence over people. Now these scores generally range from 0, I believe it's 0 to 5, with 5 being the highest. I actually have there's a great little, right here. But you can see character's ability, 0 is a disability, all the way up to 5 is a gifted ability. And same thing for character skills, they go from 0 to 8. Now, each ability or each skill is connected to an ability. So archery, for example, is connected to your fitness. So like I said, I had to create this sheet. But I put in ability automatically. So when they go through and they're changing their ability scores or whatever, all of this down here will change to what they need it to be automatically, which, will save them a lot of time. It's also auto-calculated over in the end. And then you have your points. You can spend, you can have 0 to 8 in a ability, or a skill point, I'm sorry. So if they had 8 points in archery and 3 in their ability, which is fitness for archery, they'd have a total of 11. Pretty much every skill system for many of the other games revolve around the same basic idea, so I'm sure you get the point there. Now, over here we got their health. You have 2 different forms of health. You have your fatigue, which is, your actual constitution and being tired and so forth. And then you have injury, which is your actual physical injuries. And depending on how fatigued or injured you are, you also get penalties, which we'll talk about in a moment. But they make your job obviously the harder. So if you're fatigued, you're down to strain, you're gonna have a +3 difficulty on some of your skills and checks. Same thing for injury. If they mark down and they're wounded, they're gonna have a +2 difficulty on some of their skills or combat and so forth. Infections, these are for diseases. I haven't touched on these too much because I'm not really sure what kind of diseases I am going to have in this world. Like I said, there is a nuclear fallout, so I do think it'll be around. I haven't really looked into it a whole lot yet. But again, they have like 5 little levels, anything from exposed, sullied, polluted, diseased, and ravaged on the way up. Obviously, the less you have, the less danger, and then it just gets worse as it exposes. And that's why these right here are blank, is because I'm not sure what infections I'm going to have, if at all. So I just kind of left that alone for the moment. Skills, we talked about a little bit, but real simple concept. Basically, what you were doing when you go to make a check for this game is you're going to look at your points. So in this case, he has 8. You're going to look at your ability, and that's each skill is connected to an ability. Which actually, I probably should mark those in there too. I'll do that later. But, for archery, it's fitness. So he knows he has a 3. 8 and 3, we got a total of 11. 11 is his starting number. When you make a check for the EarthAD.2 system, you're going to take your total skill and ability, that total number, subtracted by 2 dice 6. And then you compare whatever that result is to the difficulty of what you're doing. Now, the difficulty, like I said up here, you get difficulties based on these. There's difficulties for different tasks, like shooting, whether it be long range, medium range, short range, for routine tasks. And it's kind of all set up based on what you're doing and the rules around that, as well as what the DM, portrays in the storytelling and prepares. So, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to give my players a difficulty and be like, okay, what you're trying to do is going to be a difficulty of 5 after I add everything up and, consider where it is in the game. And so say, somebody's riding on their horseback and they're shooting at somebody who has cover at the moment, and it's at a long range. Long range is, it's considered an impossible shot. It's not technically impossible, but it has a difficulty of 6, which is pretty hard. And then because they're behind cover, I think it's a difficulty of bonus of +2. So that takes it up to a difficulty of 8. And you can see they roll here. This will pop up and it's going to ask what the difficulty is. And I would tell the player it's a difficulty of 8. So they can put in 8 and submit it. Over here in the chat, it'll automatically pop up for us. And I'll tell you that I rolled a 2 versus a difficulty of 8. So that's a fail. And you can see if I hover over the number here, you can see that I rolled 8. Well, I didn't roll, but you had 8, which is referencing to your skill points over there, and 3, which references your fitness ability, +0 because they didn't have any bonus. The 0 is a bonus number, minus the 2 dice 6. And then in the second line, you can see that it's for the 2 dice 6, I rolled a 3 and a 6 for 9 total. So 8, 11 minus 9 is 2, and that does not beat the difficulty of 8. So like I said, it's very difficult to those difficulties are very difficult to beat. But on average, players will probably have more like a 4 or a 5, and they'll know that hitting a difficulty of 8 is extremely difficult. They ain't gonna be trying to do that unless they have a few options or they have bonuses in there somehow or something. But just your average shot, say he was just a regular short range shot with no cover, it's only gonna be a difficulty of 2. We can submit it. And in that case, it succeeds. I had a 4 versus a difficulty of 2, so it worked out quite well. And that's all there is to the system, The only other really big role that we have is armor, which, actually, we can get to that in just a moment. Let's talk about gimmicks. Gimmicks are basically like your character's not really abilities, but, like special aspects about your character. Now, these actually ain't in here. I just was playing around for ideas. But hop over to, I created a little handbook for all of my players. And there's gimmicks. And I didn't put them in here yet. But I know they're under this. Right here. So, for humans have cultural gimmicks. Some mutants get cultural gimmicks. And the cyborgs will have I believe it's called cybernetic gimmicks right there. And these are all different things. each stock starts out with a couple different gimmicks, and then they have the option to choose a couple gimmicks. So, for example, maybe one of the players picked authority, and that gives the character is an elder or respected citizen within his native environment and may speak in councils, organize raids, help police the area. It also gains assistance of other officials. So that one is more of a storytelling aspect, but they would be able to call upon their influence and their authority to do some different things, to push the game forward and to do things. So, I mean, these are great little tweaks to your character, and they help round out your character, and they help differentiate between two characters quite a bit. But for like the cybernetics, they can have all different things. Camera eye. This one, made me think of Terminator right off the bat, because you had Arnold with his little camera-like eye that he's tearing apart and fixing in the first movie there. And the mutants is down through here somewhere. Beneficial mutants. So I put it, like aggressive immune system I left in there. Whenever the character sustains damage from a disease, poisoning, illness, or radiation, he can take a normal damage roll using his fitness, rating his armor, which we'll talk about armor in a moment. So, these are things that I felt still fit into the game a little bit, because they weren't any sort of drastic mutation. Like serrated teeth, clairaudience and clairvoyance, I was debating on leaving or not. I'm not sure yet, and I'm not really sure how they would fit in, but I left them for the moment just to make me think about it. So that's it for the gimmicks. Close that out. Close that out. Okay, weapons. Basically, you have your weapon name, your accuracy. So, some weapons are harder to aim than others. They'll have either a difficulty, bonus or subtracting for your difficulty to tweak it. Damage is always set, like 1 injury or 2 fatigue, maybe 4 injury. It's dependent on each weapon. Radius, some have a radius, like there's like a grenade thrower type thing that has a scatter radius. Then you have your long range, which is what when you're looking at the rules and stuff, the weapons will all give you your long range value. Medium range is 1/2 of whatever the long is, and short range is 1/4 of whatever the long is. And then ammo I put in because I'm debating if I'm going to track ammo or not, but there's different ones with clips and stuff like that. Okay, armor. Again, these are just examples in here. They're not real things, but you have your basic armor. Every armor has a rating, and it goes from 1 to 5 in the rules, and then you can adjust it from there. I might come up with a couple custom ones for this campaign. Protection is what they protect against. Like this one protects against fatigue and injury. Some might just protect against fatigue. Others might protect just against injury. And then coverage tells you what it covers. This includes everything from your boots, pants, chest, head, hands, all the way through. And if it doesn't cover something like your head's not covered, it wouldn't be listed. This one has full body coverage though. So rolling for armor. Basically, players say they take 4 damage. So they're going to put in that they took 4 damage. And it'll pop up that me in this case, takes a hit and their armor absorbs 2 points of damage. How it works is whatever that rating is the number that you need to roll less than on a dice 6. And you roll a number of dice 6s equal to the damage dealt. So in this case, this person took 4 damage. So he's going to roll 4 6-sided dice. And because his armor rating is 2, if he rolls a 2 or less on those 6 dice, or on those 4 die 6s, then every one that is below it, or every die that comes up 2 or less, absorbs a point of damage. So, in my example on my roll here, I rolled a 4, a 6, a 1, and a 1. Because I rolled 2 1s, both of those 1s absorbed a point of damage, which is why in the end I absorbed 2 points of damage. The armor did. So my character would take 2 points of damage. It would be injury or fatigue or whatever, the GM calls for. And the armor took 2, which, isn't marked off. It's just saved you from taking 2 points of damage. And that's it. What else did I put in here? I put description, personality, backstory for the players to fill in to give the characters some rounded out gear and possessions. I have 2 columns for, and then a notes section for the players. So, that's the AD system or the EarthAD system in a nutshell. Pretty simple, quick, fast system. There's not a whole lot to really learn. Like I said, that PDF has the reference sheets. And, these are great. One thing that should be mentioned now that I think about, though, is there is two different rule systems located in this PDF. You got basic, you got like your basic rules, and then you have an advanced rules. For my Terminator game, I'm going to be using the advanced rules. The basic rules, I mean, I browsed through. I don't exactly know how they work. I just read through it once or twice quick and didn't focus on it a too lot besides the areas I needed to. But they use like a pool die of doing different things. But both of them, from what I read on the basic ones, it's really simple, easy to use as well. But I decided to go with the advanced for some more options is all. There's also a going dice list. The EarthAD, you can use, I forgot, yeah, the generic diversion setup. And I have not looked into that yet. I do have one of their PDFs that talks about it. I couldn't tell you what it is off the top of my head, unfortunately. But I've always been interested in the diceless systems. They honestly kind of blow my mind a little bit because I'm not quite sure how they would work. So I'm going to check into it and probably throw that on as another Games on Deck future campaign or something. We'll use a diceless game. But, this game is compatible to going diceless and doing whatever you want to go with that system. There's also transportation or transport combat, which I'm going to be using quite a bit of. And, this one, again, is one that I haven't looked into a whole lot yet. I've been trying to focus on getting the players all set up and ready to roll. So this will probably, your transport combat stuff probably start coming in like session 2 and onwards. But, from what I've read, it's really interesting. It looks like it's quick, easy, it's fun. And I think it would be really cool to get the players, into some different machines, or not necessarily machines, but vehicles and stuff. Yeah, I think of like in the first Terminator movie when you have Kyle Reese and he's having his flashbacks, and one of the scenes he's like killing blowing up one of the hunter killer tanks, and then he's jumping into a car and they're like hauling ass through this wasteland of skulls and bones and machinery, drudgery, and they're getting chased by like a flying Terminator machine. And I could definitely see the players doing that, getting into like some sort of rundown vehicle that they gotta manage to somehow fix and get back together so that they can get out of where they are in a hurry. So definitely gonna be doing that. Let's see what else is in here. Expanding the game, you got a bunch of different stuff. There are scenarios to give you ideas on, everything's right there ready to play. And they all kind of connect together a little bit. References, like I said, the reference sheets are excellent. You could basically just print these right off, flip them into a binder, and you got your DM screen right there. I am going to make one more table that's going to kind of piece together some difficulty numbers for me to look at quicker. This does have a lot, so if I know that they're doing a medium range attack, it's going to be challenging, which is going to be a difficulty of 4. And if the target's moving, it's going to be +2 for a total of 6, and so on and so forth. But I did want to kind of get ones that I know I'm going to be using a lot, like coverage, and kind of put them all in, already add it all together and get it ready to go. So it's not so much stopping to look at the numbers. There's some blank sheets in here. It's a quick, simple character sheet you can print right off to play. It's just one page. And then these little miniature ones here. These are great for NPCs. I actually printed out a couple of these and started writing up some NPCs. It comes with a whole bunch of different creatures already in here. Like you got the Mutt Tribe Warrior and Mutt Mariner, Mutt Road Warrior, and Pure is also references for humans. We got human academs. So yeah, there's several pages of extra templates and other creatures and stuff to get you already on the roll. And there's also a page of disposable dice, so that even if you don't have any dice, you can print this off, glue it together, tape it together, what have you, and go to town. They may not be the most balanced or trustworthy dice, but it gets you playing, and that's what matters. Who cares about anything else, right? So that's it, guys. That'll give you an idea of what the EarthAD system is, an example of what we got for the character sheet and what they need. And I'm going to get to work on prepping the rest of this campaign, getting things set up, and then I'll have a video for you showing you what to plan on this game. I got to come up with some NPCs and kind of give some ideas of what my players should be doing. I got a few. I want to mix in some a little bit of a espionage sort of thing, throwing in maybe a little bit of a horror. I know it's not horror like Cthulhu or zombies or something like that, but still being chased down by killer robots can be pretty damn scary, I would think. So putting that in there, some more of a survival thing, and definitely your sci-fi elements. So it should be a lot of fun. If you have any ideas for this campaign or something you'd like to see, throw it in the comments below. I'll be happy to see what I can fit in. And I guess that's it, guys. Have a great one.